crazy than science. Now, if you're not a person that, works well under stress, you might not want to go there, no matter how good the program may or may not be. So that's one thing that you have to take into account when trying to find the college building. Now, the second thing is, you try a lot of colleges. So after you get all your acceptance scores, all your rejection after you get all the letters, you want to find out which college to go to. That's a big, that's a big decision, because what if you don't get into your top pick? Now you have three other schools which you're not sure which one's better, you can't run all three of them, so which one's better for you? You decide that you have to look at first the college. So going to college is investment. You put money into college so that when you come out of college, you get a better job or, you're substantial. So you have to know that you don't want to pay a lot of money to go to a college in which you can get the same education at another college for a much lower price. Because a lot of times it's just something student loans that you have to pay back all that money. It actually sets you back. And that's not something that you want to do. So you have to think about is paying one college, is paying for one college really worth it? Is it really worth that money? Is it going to increase your wages, going to make you more prepared for your job, more so than going to another college? So you have to really look at that for performance and possibilities. Now, that's why you want to really look into what programs are active. If you're going to be a pre-med, right? You want to be a doctor. Some schools may have great reputations, but the medical programs might not be as good as the other schools. Don't have as good of a reputation. So you have to research institutions. You just can't base everything on what other people say. You have to look into it. Now, to move on, there's things that a lot of parents worry about, and that's extracurriculars. A lot of you don't really know how colleges look at extracurriculars specifically, but we have a kind of an idea about what are great extracurriculars, what might not be so helpful. So I've classified extracurriculars into three categories. There's one which is organizational. That's basically student government, athletic associations, club positions, newspaper editors, anything that really has to do with leadership or a position in a school organization. Now, these are great extracurriculars. Colleges, will definitely look at that, and proof of that is our GO presidents, general organization. A lot of our presidents have gone to amazing universities, even though I believe some of them weren't qualified to. But it's what I believe, and maybe they were actually qualified. But that's an extracurricular that is extremely helpful to getting you into college. The second type of extracurricular is what I call experience extracurriculars. These are like internships, independent research, jobs at community service. These types of extracurriculars are really helpful, and actually might be more helpful than the organizational extracurriculars. The problem is that you have to make sure you pick those extracurriculars to be pertaining into the field you want to study. Now, if you're like the best biology intern in the world, right, it won't really matter if you're going to study economics, because they really don't have anything to do with one of those. You have to pick something that pertains to what you are interested in, and colleges will know that those things might not be, that if you're a biology intern and you go for economics, they won't look at that at all, because they're like, he's not going to be studying biology. Why should this matter at all? He's not learning anything that he's going to be using. Now, the third thing is commitment extracurriculars. And these things are sports teams, instrument ensembles, like orchestra, and third parties, organizations outside the school, like Boy Scouts. These things colleges would really only consider if you spent a lot of time on them. Like, for example, if you've been in the Boy Scouts for 2 years, they wouldn't really consider that, you know, like a big leadership. It's not like you're learning a lot of stuff. But if you've been in Boy Scouts for, let's say, 8 years and you're like an Eagle Scout, like the highest rank, then they'll definitely consider that as, you know, something that you're extremely interested in, that you've shown that you've learned a lot of stuff from that program. Like, for example, I'm the volleyball team captain of my school team, but I don't think that college looked at that much, because I didn't say that I was going to play volleyball in college. So they're not going to be like, you know, they see that I'm the captain, yes, but they also see that I'm saying that I'm not necessarily going to play volleyball in college, so they think that it's not something that I'm extremely interested in. So it is. Basically, the most important point is just to find something that you like in high school. You know, high school is the time where you're trying to figure out what exactly you're good at, what you're really bad at, you know, and try to, like, keep away from those things that you're bad at and try to build on those things you're really good at. You know, a lot of people in this world, they don't know what the capital of Turkey is, they don't know the roots of how to find the roots of a quadratic equation, they don't know Mark Twain's real name, but, you know, they do fine. They get extremely high salaries, and they live comfortably. You don't need to know all the things you learn in high school, and it's up to the students to figure out what's really important and what's just trivial, and they just, you know, get through it and then leave behind. Thank you.
Alright, before we start, I just want to get an idea of who's here. So, how many of you are 7th graders or 7th grade parents? Raise your hand. 8th grade? 9th grade? 10th grade? 11th? So, yeah, that's what I thought. Mostly 7th and 9th grade. So, I guess to me, the way I see it is, it's a bit early to think that much about college, but it's not too early to think about what you're going to be interested in, or at least the things that come before college. So, well, let me just talk about Hunter in general right now, especially for you 7th graders. So, things to remember as you go along in high school. Personally, I think, like, looking back at my days in Hunter, I guess, in terms of college, one important thing to remember, make sure you participate in class. Okay, really important, because if I look back, I can easily say that 90% of the points I lost. But I mean, things to remember. Other things? Yeah. Well, just looking at the kids around me, one thing to remember is don't get too stuck in games. Please don't. If you have free time, spend it on something more useful. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Because I know a lot of friends who I know they're incredibly smart, but they didn't get anywhere too great because they spent time. Okay, so on to more important things. One thing I found that I think everyone should try doing is, it's not just for college, but if you think about it, college is very much a sort of short-term goal for you. I'm talking about for your very long-term goal. What are you going to do in the rest of your life? So first, I guess the word for me. Okay, so I think it's very important that everyone tries to find a passion as early as possible. Personally, for me, it was science and engineering. And when you find a passion for yourself, something you really love doing, you have to, I mean, when you have a true passion, you don't even need to be pushed to do it. Like, if you want to win science fair awards, you want to go to summer camps and that, you don't need to be pushed. You don't have to remind yourself, oh, this is just for college, and that's why I'm going to do it. I mean, make sure you find a passion and stick to it. It just makes everything so much easier. When you have your college essays, you can just think about it, talk about how much you love science or how much you love writing or art or something like that, and it really shows. One thing not everyone might realize is that colleges aren't necessarily looking for breadth. If you think about it, they'd rather have a lot of kids who are really good at a certain subject, rather than a lot of kids are sort of good at things, a lot of things, and not really good at anything at all. So personally, I think it's very important that I guess some in 8th grade might be a bit early, but to try to find something really passionate about. If you love math, go to math camp, go to Ross mathematics program, go do things in the summer, and make sure you have something, and it'll just help you for the rest of your life. It'll help you for college and everything. That's what I did. Every summer I had science internships. Mainly science, I guess. At home, I work on my own electronics experiments. You know, it's definitely helped me get to places these days. So, yeah. You know, make sure you do something with that free time and find yourself passionate.
Hi, okay. So I guess most of you guys are in 7th and 8th grade, and the most important thing I would say, don't worry too much when you're in 7th grade or 8th grade, because no one really sees your grades or anything. So, yeah, in 8th grade, but, yeah, I guess. But in 7th grade, since most of you guys are in 7th grade, just kind of enjoy the time you have there, and just, I would say, definitely look into clubs. Don't be afraid to do extracurriculars just because you think, oh, everyone's an upper termer and they're not going to let me do stuff or whatever. They will. Everyone loves meeting new kids and stuff. So just don't be afraid to do that. One big thing I would say is try to maybe get into sports or orchestra or band or something. It's a really good long-term extracurricular you can have that kind of doesn't require that much commitment. Kind of does, but not really. And also once you start getting in 9th grade, so you're 9th graders, join varsity sports teams. Even if you're really bad, just join varsity sports. It's so easy to become captain once you get in 12th grade. Each team basically has 4 captains. Okay, you just have to seriously though. You have 4 captains. But if you stick in there from 9th to 12th grade, you pretty much 75% guarantee that you will be a captain. Okay? I mean, if you're playing that sport for 4 years, you'll probably become all right at it, right? So yeah, it's a pretty good one. And just getting in, I guess for the more selective sports like volleyball, it might be tough if you're not very good, but you can definitely do track. Most people drop out of track in 10th grade. So if you just keep doing that, you can become captain. Seriously. Other things I would say term council, math team, that kind of also those long-term commitments that most people drop out of. Do those, debate team, if you stick in there long enough, you will rise to a good leadership position that will help you get into college. If you're also lacking in extracurriculars, start your own club, start your own publication, start your own whatever. Don't be afraid. There are a lot of resources out there at Hunter. You can do a lot without any support. So just get out there. Don't be afraid to use your resources. For summer programs, if you don't have a lot of extracurriculars or you don't have anything to do during your summer, I think the counseling office has a big packet of brochures for stuff that you can do. There are tons of stuff you can do during the summer. Don't waste your summer doing nothing. Seriously. On the college app, there is a space. Every single summer you have to list and say what you did that summer. Do not leave a summer empty, okay? There are tons of things you can do. In the city, out of the city, you can do traveling, stuff like that, community service. There's a ton of stuff you can do. Teachers. Don't be afraid to talk to your teachers. If you have issues with any of the work or the subjects you're having a hard time, talk to your teachers. They like that. No help when you're doing teacher reps and stuff. Don't be afraid to do that. Once you get to 11th grade, you'll have college counselor. Don't be afraid to suck up to your counselor, okay? You have to go see them like once every week or else they will not remember you, okay? Don't be afraid to do stupid things in front of your counselor. Just be yourself when you're like, when you have to interact with people like administration, like teachers that will matter in the college process. Don't be afraid to talk to these people. When you're actually applying to college, I would say make the most of the college process. Definitely apply early somewhere. Well, like early action. If you really love the place, apply early decisions. That's binding. But if you apply early action, that's not binding. Getting in early somewhere is like such a huge relief. Even if it's like a safety school or a target school, at least then you can have a lot more reach schools on your list because Hunter only gives you 8 private schools that you can apply to. So you definitely, even if you get into like Boston College, early action, like you can use a lot of those slots for more like higher upper schools. You don't want to have like private safety schools eating up your funds because then you'll have a better chance of getting into better schools. Just essays, definitely work hard on your essays when it comes to college application time. Essays are like most people, their perception is that during high school, if you work really hard, you get really good grades. If you do a lot of extracurriculars, if you have a lot of leadership positions, you'll definitely get in an Ivy. That is not true, okay? This year was definitely, not true. I know a ton of people who had, excellent GPAs, excellent SAT scores, excellent extracurriculars who did not get into, were really disappointed come college decision time, okay? So you have to make sure you guys show your personality. Get out there. Interview time, do not be afraid to be yourself. Just, have fun, enjoy yourself. When you're writing the essay, try to find, something different. Think outside of the box. Don't write about how you're, debate team president, okay? That is not a good idea to write an essay about. Write about your childhood. Something, something that made you who you are, change some part of you or something. You want to be unique. Put yourself out there, okay? Just don't think about getting into college as such if I do well in everything, I'll definitely get in. That is not true. You just want to make sure. It sounds kind of morbid, I guess, but just be yourself and have fun, I guess. So you don't want to waste the time you have here in high school. You'll change a lot. For you, 7th graders, you'll change a lot once you, are in 12th grade. You will become different people. So just have fun. Appreciate yourself.
Okay, so I guess the most important thing I would have to say for everyone who's incoming 7th grade and 7th graders who are going on 6th grade, everyone actually, one of the most important things getting started is to join a club. I mean, the first few weeks of 7th grade you might be going to, well actually Geo Club Open House is in October, so you get to, go shopping for clubs. And all of the clubs, they give you food and stuff and they want you to join. But I think the most important thing is to choose 1 or 2 clubs to focus on. For me, I joined a club called Asian Cultural Society, which is also known as ACS at school. And I've been in my club since 6th grade, 7th grade. And now I've been co-president of that club for 2 years. I mean, I can't say that it was easy, like Diana said it was, but because our club is so big, this year we had the biggest attendance ever. We had 80 people in our club. So it's hard to become a leader, but if you work hard, all the seniors, all the juniors who are in the club are really nice. So if you just go out there and, talk to them, don't be afraid of them. Some of them, like me, are really short, so, we're alike. And so, don't be afraid to talk to upper termers. I think that is an important lesson. And for the club scene, I guess, another good idea is to join term council. I think in 7th grade it's kind of selective. You choose 2 or 3 people in your class to be in term council. But once it gets to 8th grade, I think it becomes open to everyone. And in term council, you get to learn how to organize events, And you do things like you plan 7th and 8th grade dances, 9th and 10th grade dances. Right now we're doing prom for the senior grade, and a lot of the senior activities. So it's a lot of fun. You get to know your grade mates. Some people, you don't see them outside of class. They might be in term council, and you get to know them better. And I think that's a lot of fun. So it's also a good idea for you to join term council. In 12th grade, you get to have a class that it's an elective. It's called the Hunter Scholars Program. It's an internship, and you can choose out of a list of, hundreds of internships that you can do. And Dr. Moore at our school, who's also in charge of service credit things, she is in charge of that, and she helps you get whatever internship you want. I mean, if you want to be an intern at Mount Sinai for like a writing scientist, that's out there. You can do that. I'm currently doing an internship at Merrill Lynch, and I don't know what they do. Oh, Diana works at a magazine, I think. She gets a lot of free stuff. That's also, it's an important learning experience, and you just get to learn how to have fun and work hard. I guess you really get to work hard at Hunter, especially in 11th grade and 12th grade. But it's worth it because you do get to go to a school that you probably would enjoy a lot because it's hard. Okay, so another thing is that summers, like they said, are very important. For me, I went to a lot of, gifted and talented programs. I went to C2Y, which, you go there and you choose a class, and you play, and you learn, and you get to know, kids from all over the place. Like, there was this girl who was from India that went to one when I went, and she was just crazy and awesome. I think if you go to training school, you should probably try to take the HSK test. If you do well on that test, you get a scholarship to go study in Beijing for free. They give you money to eat, and you get a lot of money, and you get to eat a lot of food. I went in 2005, and we got to go all over the place. We traveled in Beijing. We watched opera. We watched acrobats. We went everywhere in Beijing, places I never even thought there would be. Interesting amusement parks where you get to learn how to read something. Well, that is it's a test issued by the Chinese government, I think, but they give it. There's different levels, and it's a really good thing to try to go to training school, which I think a lot of you do. Okay, and then the next summer I went to this other gifted program called SIG, Summer Institute for the Gifted, and that is a more freer environment than C2Y. C2Y, you get to choose one class, and you do that all day long, and you get to play at night and stuff. SIG is more, you choose 4 or 5 classes throughout the day, and you get to, there's, interesting classes like hip-hop, and there's things like philosophy, and I did string theory. I never would have thought I would do string theory in my life, but I learned about string theory. But, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, summer camps are just always fun, because you go for 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes longer, and you get to know people that you would never encounter in, life here in your city or in Hunter, because our community is so small. Last summer, I went to this program called NSLC. It's called National Student Leadership Conference, and you go to Washington, D.C. for 10 days, and you get to dress up all professionally, and you go to conferences. You get different programs. There's Friends of Science, journalism, U.S. government. The U.S. government group actually had a mock U.S. Congress, and they elected a president. That was kind of cool. I did international diplomacy. I got to go to the State Department, I got to, meet the ambassador from Qatar, I think, Kuwait, one of the Middle Eastern countries. Okay, there. So we did mock UN, and these leadership conferences really teach you how to do public speaking, how to be a leader and work with other people. Learn to be a world leader. I guess that's the point. But I mean, that sounds kind of cheesy, but it really helps you in school because there's always going to be a group project where someone in your group doesn't do it, and you're going to have to find a way to motivate them to do it. I mean, if you're one of those people, try not to be, because it's really annoying. I was an intern at World Journal, the Chinese newspaper. I don't know if you guys know it, but I'm sure your parents see this. I got the internship through this program called Greater New York Dollars for Scholars, or 大纽约华人教育基金会. They have a range of internships. They had one with the pharmacy, business. They do all, it was really small last year because it was their first year, but I think they have more internships this year. And it's basically a paid internship because they give you a scholarship. I know I got nearly $3,000 for working 8-hour days. And you work during the summer, and you can do whatever you want to. I went to World Journal, and I helped out things with the website, and that's not something that I'm really interested in, but when I went, it was just incredible, because the vice president of the newspaper, she's an ABC like we are, and she's just really nice, and she's like one of the heads of the Red Cross. She does all these things in the community, and you really get to learn. You get to see that people who were born in America can also be involved in the Chinese community, and you don't have to. I mean, it's important to go out into the world and make something of yourself, but it's also important to stay back what you grew up in. Stay back to your community, and you get to see how how some people get to end up doing it. I mean, she went to, Stanford Law School. She was a big shot lawyer, and her dad said, you have to work at World Journal, and fine, because it was a family business. But she made it into something that is more than just a newspaper for her. She gets to do all kinds of things in the community, and I think we could learn from that. We could do that ourselves. I mean, it doesn't really matter where we go to school. I mean, it does. Sorry. It does. But what's important is what you do afterwards. And I think that she really taught me something from that. In terms of colleges, I don't, you guys are really young, so I don't really want to talk about college. But if you have a talent, if you can draw, if you can dance, if you can play music, do it. I mean, pursue your passion, and what's good is that some colleges, if you do art, you can submit art supplements. I mean, I do Chinese dance, that's kind of weird, not a lot of people do it. I sent in my DVD, and, I think some of them liked it, because I got it. I mean, it's really important for them to see who you are. And, you don't really get to talk about dancing or, playing your instrument. But they don't get to hear the passion that you have just by reading your essays. I mean, sometimes it's really good to write what you do, but, if they can see you do it, if they can hear you do it, if they can see your painting, that really means something to them. And, I think it makes their life a little bit more fun, because all they get to do is read applications all day. I don't know, fun. So I think that's extremely important. And when it comes down to it all, your parents need to help you. I mean, you need your parents to help you. I mean, who knows anything about it? But don't be afraid to ask your parents for help with financial applications. I think that really helped me a lot because I was stressed out about writing essays. I didn't want to think about, who did what on their W-2 form. I don't know how that is, So just be sure to ask your parents. And, if they bug you about reading your essay, I think it's a good idea to give it to them. Because, I mean, even though I was very annoyed, they gave me a good criticism that I thought, I would never have picked it out of them. Because they are parents. They have gone through a lot more than we have. So they know what could be appealing to them. We're not going to and college visits. Those are very important. Once you get to about 10th grade, I think it might be a good time to start thinking about what colleges you want to visit. Because, once you get to junior year, you're going to be so busy. Honestly, you are. So, I mean, you might want to reserve your spring break to study break instead of, going out and having fun, which always is money. But, I think it's a good time, sophomore year is a good time to start thinking about colleges to visit. And, just reserve a few days, and maybe if you have friends who are Hunter alums, you can ask them to take you around, tell you about what's good about the school. I mean, I got into Boston College. I didn't really think about it because I didn't think I'd like it, but I went and I talked to my friend from 07, and she took me around for like an hour and a half. And he's just, if you make good friends who are upper termers, also an important part about talking to them, they can help you a lot when you need them. They'll help you. Like, I know I'll help you guys when you ask me. If I know you. Sorry, if you don't. If I don't know you, I'll still help you, but I won't be able to help you as much because I won't know you. So I mean, just be sure to ask for help. And be sure to make friends who are outside of your group. Because, it's good to make connections. You never know. Maybe Samson will be like a multi-millionaire making like robots in the future, and I'll know him. We'll be friends. So, it's a good thing to be friends. Thank you.
Okay, couple of quick things. Hi. Hello. Okay, a couple of quick things. Since you're all 7th and 8th graders, I'd imagine one thing you might be thinking about at some point is the divergence test, or the specialized, whatever you call that. And let me tell you something. A lot of things we just said right now don't apply to divergence. Okay, you actually have to be good at sports or whatever you want to have any leadership skills. Okay. Well, I mean, you have to realize Stuyvesant is about 5 times bigger, and the teachers will not know you as well, and you will be more likely to be a nobody in your club, and it's just harder to get opportunities there. Here you can do whatever the heck you want, and you can make a new club. You can join a club, anyone will accept you. They won't have a problem because you really know open clubs at all. You can join track team, they won't have like a test where you can be a field like that. Things like that. Other things, well, I guess I'll emphasize again, do something in the summer, okay? In case you're wondering, prep school doesn't count on the college at all. And I know that there definitely is a folder of internships at the counseling office, but for me, I found that almost all the internships and summer activities I've gone to, I basically found them myself because I don't know. But personally, I found that if you're interested in science or math, I found that most of my activities were directly from there weren't too many science and math internships available from the counseling office, so personally I had to find it myself. And if you're interested in science and math, in the later years, if you're looking for an internship, there's not so many science programs around, but there are a lot of science researchers around. And you'll find that a lot of researchers don't mind taking in the high school students too because they're free and they need people to do lab work and do the experiments, and they really have no problem with. Most of them don't have much of a problem with having another high school schooler in the lab. And that's actually what I do for HFP. I work at a laboratory in the Bronx for time.
好，这个最后一位学生刚刚赶到，他没有找到这个符号性别这个位置，他叫周毅毅，他今年进了那个哈佛和 MIT 非常优秀的学生，我们先请他讲。大家好，6年过得很辛苦，但是到最后面还是有了果吧。怎么过来？我想回去看一看，真的是一天一天的过，每天上学，真的每天早上都要6点半咬牙起床再上学，上完学来回家5点左右就做功课，有时候晚上也不太想做，也睡觉，所以我最后想说一句，就是虽然6年过得很难，但是到最后真的是有结果的，所以希望大家都什么，有什么问题问？我是
You know, I have a couple questions. I think most of the parents will have the same question. So I'm going to go on my question quickly. The first question, actually a couple of questions, is that because I process. The first step is, what kind of interview questions these so-called good schools, I'm not saying every school, because Hunter College, other schools also good school, right? The good schools normally ask you in the interview the most important questions. Do you want me to ask all my questions one time and one at a time? If any parents also found it interesting, right? What I'm asking, is that okay?
Well, one of the big ones is they ask why you want to go to this school. Obviously, that's really important. Don't just apply to, well, I guess you could apply to schools just because they're like #1. But when you're going to the interview, actually know why you want to go to that school. There's a really good site that I went on a lot. It's called collegeconfidential.com. They have like forums for every single school, and they do talk a lot about like why each school is special. So that's like a good resource if you want to find out more about your school. Another big thing is they ask a lot about your extracurriculars, why you're passionate about them, and just sometimes they throw a lot of really curveball questions at you, like I heard someone got asked, like, what's your #1 passion in life, or like what inspires you, or stuff like that. But just during the interview, even if they don't ask you a lot of specific questions, make sure you talk a lot. And not just about, oh, I do this, I do that. Just try to make sure you talk more about your personality, like personally, like who you are, what sets you apart from everyone else who's applying to that school. Why should you get in over someone else? You can talk about, you know, like your view on like schoolwork, how you know, your maturity versus other people's. Just try to set yourself apart when you're doing the interview.
Yeah, I do. So not really. But the last thing, something else to look for is something that you can connect with the interviewer. Because a lot of times, like for me, when I went to, I also applied to Princeton, but I got it's okay. But when I had an interview and when he asked me like a very basic question, what courses do you take? You know, they want to know what you're doing in high school. You know, I went through my courses, and when I told him I was taking international relations, you know, I saw that he got, like, he was like, really? Like, there's an international relations course. So we really talked about that, because he was an international relations major. And we talked about, like, what the course goes over, and, you know, whether I was interested in taking it at Princeton, and, like, I think we're doing for international relations. So, you know, it's important to try to find something that you and your interviewer can talk about, something they're knowledgeable about. Because a lot of these people who are interviewing you are former alumni that are just studying specific subjects. And if you happen to like the same subject that they do, you know, talk about it, ask them, you know, how was your experience there? You know, they like questions. It's not only them asking you questions, you have to ask them questions too. You know, just keep that in mind.
Okay, so, about a couple things, well, when you get an interview, one, don't, for some of you who might be kind of worried, don't worry too much, because, especially if you have an alumni interview, because the truth is, you have to remember, I mean, it's just one part of the college application, and the truth is, most admissions officers don't take alumni interviews quite as seriously. A lot of them have the alumni interviews partly just to know the school better. But really the number one goal for any interview is that make sure, they've said it before too, but just make sure you know why you want to go to the school. Even if it's just an Ivy League and you're going there because it's a great school, remember to have an excuse. Okay. So yeah. So and try to find some reason when you're applying to colleges in general. Make sure you can kind of. They always have a lot of college apps have questions like why do you want to go, and make sure you have some reason that's exclusive to that school. Like maybe for example, Caltech. Say they have that's their number one physics department because they had this refinement. Make sure, and I guess related to college apps, I don't know if you're going to remember this, but it might be, at least for me, I found it useful to not use the online app and not use the common app and have a different app for every school so that I could actually customize every application for the message.
Well, what I would like to say is that even if the school you're getting interviewed by isn't your first choice, don't make that obvious. You know, hide it. Like, you know, they'll be upset, and you don't want to upset your interviewer, you know, because they write something back to the school, and, you know, don't offend them.
Two really quick points. One, I really do not like collegeconfidential.com, and so I would just like to put that out there. Because most of the people on there are really psychos. So you do not want to follow their path. They take like 28 days, and it's completely ridiculous. Because the people on there have that mentality of going straight at it to get the best scores. And what you need to remember in the college admissions process is that they look not only at your scores, your AP scores, your SAT scores, your grades, they want to look at what type of person you are. So I think, I think the interview is very important in that way, that they're not looking, that they're finally looking at the person, right? They're not just looking at a paper, and that's what they really want to see. They want to see who you are. So something to keep in mind during the interview process is that you should believe in yourself. And I think that's a really big difference. So at my Harvard interview, at the end, my Harvard interviewer said, you are in a really good position because you will be surprised at how many people who are not prepared, just completely not. So as Hunter students, you have to be confident. Go to your interview knowing that you're already one step ahead. So be confident and show your personality.
Smile a lot.
Yeah.
Good. Don't laugh at there and be like, oh, laugh at their jokes. Try to make jokes if you're a funny person. But if you're not.
Yeah. If you get an admissions officer interview, you should be very funny. Because they can reject you right there.
Like,
Go to campus.
yeah. Alumni interviews are necessary. Is it like an admissions officer interview that you know, like,
There's some crazy cases where the admissions officer accepts you. You're probably not going to get one, but
So my next question is, we all know GPA, SAT, and college essay is most important part of the application. In addition to all these three parts, what else are the most important extracurriculums you consider can help to apply to ideal college? What I try to find out is, like, there are 5 of you, right? Almost all the kids I know went into good schools. They are like Intel, family, or families, or whatsoever, or you know, some national championship or something. So 5 of you, what kind of award you have ever won actually help your college application? You want to illustrate one by one, even we don't have, that's fine.
So, I didn't actually win any really like awards, but the thing is that just like about the first point about the GPA, SAT, and essay being the 3 most important parts, I think it's changed now. Then the SAT is actually not very important, or not as important as before. As you know, the rise of prep schools and like colleges definitely keep up with the stuff. They know that kids are like studying like way too much for everything. So they're starting to come off the SAT like standard. They look at SAT as saying, okay, so we're about this person. So they don't look at your score, they look at what range of your score is. So like obviously if you get like a SAT that's 1,800, that would hurt the college chances. But there's really not that big of a difference between a 2,200 and a 2,320 or something. So like if you've got 120 points, it might seem like a big difference. It's actually not as big as those extracurriculars, those really specialized things. So things that talk about the personality more so than just a number. And that's why I think that, you know, the SAT is really, you know, like that's why you shouldn't really worry about the SAT. Just try to get as good of a score. And don't worry about, you know, oh, like I didn't get over 2,200. So it's alright, you get a 2,260, you know, you're still... Yeah, I'm saying that, like, if you say that, you said that your premise, that those 3 are the 3 main ones in addition, and I'm saying that those extracurriculars, things that, like, what I talked about in my speech, like the organized like stuff like student government, for example, or like newspaper positions, those are actually a lot more important than SAT. And you can't, like, I don't think that you can say that the SAT is a huge part of the college admissions process anymore.
What mainly it was science fair related or some math teams. The truth is I did a lot of mainly I think my stuff came from the activities because I've been working for lab for about almost a year now. We're almost publishing papers. So I also did a lot of like side projects. I mean the thing. Well, I kind of predicted I wouldn't get into like all some MIT schools or whatnot because it is important that you have, even if you're interested in something, it's important that you have something to show for it. I mean, like, ideally, if you were good at science, hopefully you would try to get like some Intel semi-finalist or Intel finalist or Deaconess semi-finalist, because they'll get you into college pretty easily.
You know what? Based on your personal experience, don't actually. Not all the kids have been the semi-finalist or finalist. So based on your personal experience, what are the important extracurriculars?
Extracurricular. What? I think if in my personally my experience is that I think you can win Deaconess. I don't know.
Did you win any?
No, I didn't. But what did I have? Just make sure you have your activities. Make sure you have your activities to show what you're interested in and that you're good at what you're interested in. Your honors do science fairs. I mean, they obviously show for something. But you definitely, whatever you do, you want some sort of award that shows that you're good at what you're interested in and you're interested in what you say you're interested in.
So I didn't win any awards at all, so, you know. I think extracurriculars are important, but I mean, you have to think that there are other parts of the application. I personally think the essay and the teacher recs are the most important. But as for extracurriculars, just as long as you have ones that are kind of focused, like you have that show you have a passion. I know we've been using that word a lot. But mine was, I guess, kind of like journalism, because I had like an internship at a magazine and stuff like that. So if you're not a big prize winner, focus on other parts of your application. Because just because one part is kind of lacking doesn't mean you can, you know, just let the other ones go. Work harder. Build up other parts of your application that you can make stronger. Your essays, your teacher recs, things that you can work on personally, do them. Like, extracurriculars are like a really long, like, it's from 7th grade onwards, so you can get to like 11th grade and be like, oh, crap, I don't have any extracurriculars. So just don't worry too much about that and work on other things if you're in that position.
I'm not a big prize winner either. I mean, I think I wrote something really lame, like, you know, music awards. And for me, I think what made me different, what made me stand out was my art supplement. And even though I'm not an accomplished musician, I've been a dedicated musician. So I think that means something to college people. I did a lot of volunteer work, and I think that was also very important. So, I mean, you don't have to be a big award winner. You could focus on something that makes you unique. I think that makes you a better contender.
I'd like to stress that point. I am a prize winner.
What kind of prize?
Humans, a finalist, so it was in science. But my point is, I didn't start out in 8th grade entering the science fair knowing or anything, I'm going to get that Deaconess Award or that Intel Award. I said, I really love science, and I'm going to do more science experiments. So, whatever you're interested in, whatever you like to do, follow it, and you're going to build that year by year. Say to yourself, in 8th grade, I won my first science fair in school. It was just a school science. No, 9th grade. And in 10th grade, I did another science fair. And in 11th grade, I did another science fair. It just built up like that. Every year, the science project was a little bit better. But I didn't say I want to win a big award. I said, I'm interested, and let me keep up with it. So, follow your interest.
The last step in my question is actually very simple. During your college application, what is the most regrettable aspect you have done to harm any of your application? Like, of course, you get to go Harvard and MIT, but not necessarily means you have nothing to regret, right? So this is my first question. Second question, of course, is what is the aspect to make your application stand out from the crowd, make you win, make you to be successful, right? So this is about your college application. My fourth question is, during your 6 years in Hunter, what is the most regretful? If you can go back 6 years from the beginning, 7th grade, what you would have done better in order to avoid the failure you're facing now? Right? Everybody has failure and success. So the last question is, during the 6 years you stayed in Hunter, what is the experience you feel you're proud about? It's the best experience. You have done the best. Okay, 4 questions. Good and bad during college application, good and bad during your 6 years in Hunter, then I'm done.
As I said, I got rejected from Princeton, and so obviously that's something that I was like, when I did get rejected, I was thinking, what could I have done better in my college application process? And the thing I thought that really hurt me was that I didn't have enough internships or any kind of independent research type things that show that I showed a passion for my major or what I wanted to do in my life. So that's one big thing. And the other big thing was 11th grade. Now 11th grade you get a lot of work, okay? The thing was, it wasn't really. I was prepared for the amount of work. I wasn't prepared for how hard the work would be. My English class was definitely the worst experience of my life. I had Mr. Diegers, and he wanted me to write in a certain way that I refused to write it, so he didn't give me a very good grade, let's just say. And I think I lost about 3 points off my GPA from his class alone. But from that year alone, actually, not only his class, but most of his class. So if I would go back 6 years, that's one of the biggest things that I would change. Learn how to suck up to teachers, even though it kills me to do it. But I would have done that differently. And I think I'm going to spend a lot more of my time doing internships, something that trying to find that passion, find my interest, and show that way I can show colleges that I was really interested in.
So the GPA calculated by weighted average from different courses and different grades, right?
Well, you don't really use the GPA. They give you the transcripts to the colleges. You get transcripts, but
You have different formula to calculate.
Every class is equal.
There's no weight.
Oh, okay. It's not weighted average.
No, it's
all unweighted.
It's unweighted, yeah. But even so, we don't send that number off. We just a lot of times we know that colleges will calculate that anyway by themselves, but we send them the transcript, not the number, not the GPA like other schools do.
They don't get a number. So what do I regret from college apps? Well, the worst thing I'm not sure, because I did prepare a lot for the college app, so there's, in terms of the actual application on what I wrote, I'm not really sure what I would regret. There's some schools that I felt, it turned out that Caltech also had the longest application, and I got to write the most about myself, and I probably sent them in a little material too. So, I guess, I don't know if you could say this is under my control, but I wish I could write more about myself in some of the college apps. Apart from that, the other things I really regret were just, I wish I had more honors to show for what I'm interested in, because, I spend a lot of my free time on science and engineering, and it's just that I haven't spent so much time on projects that would win science fair projects. I mean, something a little, designing an audio amplifier doesn't really qualify for the science fair project, saving the world kind of thing, or plant research, plant genetics and plant inheritance doesn't really save the world either. So, I mean, those, you'll find that a lot of science fair projects, if you're looking for a science fair project, try to look for ones that field projects involving like AIDS, HIV, saving the world in some way, energy efficiency. Those always win. And if you're doing something on inheritance or class in pine trees, you know, I mean, it's a great experience, but I mean, if you're looking to win science fair projects, it's probably not going to get you there. What else? Oh, so what else I regret in winter? Yeah, mainly that. I wish I'd spent more time. I wish I'd tried for more awards rather than just doing my own stuff all the time.
You have to be very pessimistic. I also ask, what makes you proud? What makes you stand up?
Yeah, that's all the projects I've done. I mean, I've had a lot of fun designing. There's so many things. My programming, I'm proud of everything I've ever made. I don't want to list them all, though. You know.
What's the most important?
What was a little project I'm working on? I don't want to give it away. What? I don't know.
I can't say I actually regret anything about my application. I would just say I maybe should have started doing them a little earlier because I do procrastinate a lot. Yeah, I didn't really apply to that many schools, so I got in early, so I didn't really have to worry too much. But I mean, I basically did my Princeton application like the night it was due, and it's due like at 12 a.m. and I was going to submit it at like 11:58, but the server was really slow, so I wound up like submitting it at like 12:15. So it was technically late, but I still got it. So it's okay. So just try to start a little bit earlier, and for what stood out, I would say my essay. I'm pretty proud of my essay. And teacher recs, I would say, and like counselor recs are probably, I didn't read them, but I guess they were good because I got into school. Stuff, yeah, just stuff like that. And for Hunter experience, what I regret, I probably would have tried to do more things in school because a lot of my extracurriculars are outside of school. Because in like 7th and 8th and 9th grade, I didn't really reach out that much to like join that many clubs or try to take advantage of a lot of the resources that are available. So I just wish I would have done more of that and maybe had more interaction with my teachers.
The thing I regret about my application is that I think at Hunter you do a lot of writing that is formal, and sometimes for the applications they want you to write something about yourself. And I had a really hard time doing that because I was against it, and I felt like everything I wrote was kind of cheesy. But you have to talk to your English teacher about that, and they'll help you. And you know, my essay turned out to be not so bad. My counselor really liked it, and she was super critical about essays. You know, you don't want to show it to her because you know she'll shoot you down the days that the application's due. So you know, that's just my counselor. Other counselors are nice. The thing I'm most proud of is my teacher Rex. I found 2 excellent teachers. They were both junior year teachers. I felt like even though I might not have done as well as I should have, they really got to know who I was because, I mean, one of my teachers was social studies, and, you know, I got really into U.S. history because my teacher was so passionate, and I was so excited, and I wanted to argue with people. You know, that was a lot of fun. And my other teacher was my physics teacher, and, you know, she's just a really nice person. She's not going to say anything mean, but I felt proud about those 2. I think they really helped me. because I didn't know. For my youth school, I think the thing I'm most proud of, I feel like, I talked about it a lot, is my club. I call it my club because I've been there for 6 years, and, I love HCHS so much, and it's become, one of the best things in Hunter. Everyone enjoys the shows that we put on because we put in so much work, and it's something to be proud of. What I regret most is I have a pretty small circle of friends, and I feel like, I should have reached out more to other groups, Hunter's not really cliquey, but it tends to have, it's not like super exclusive, but, it's still kind of hard to penetrate between, groups. So I wish I could have been friends with more people. I'm friends with them all, but, I don't know every detail about their life.
So about the act, first acting, I started my essays the day before, including my early, and I had 2 early action essays. So, and that included the long Calc Act 1. So, I sent them in late, like 2 hours late, and I was really stressed out that day, or those 2 days. So, big tip, start your essays early the summer of. And even if they turn out to be trashy essays, just get rid of them, because the more you write, the more ideas you have. So even if they're bad, just write something. Okay. So because the reason why I couldn't get started that summer, I really tried hard to start writing something, but whatever I wrote just turned out to be really bad, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And then the good thing about my essays, I guess, is that they were honest, because I didn't have time to really say, let me hide something. And I think I showed myself in my essays, and that's what you really want to do. So when I was really under pressure, I'm just like, okay, here's myself, let me put it on paper, send it in. And so, show the good side of yourself, but be honest. That's what I liked in my essays. As for the Hunter experience, good thing is that I really loved the people there. They're so amazing. Like everyone has their own passion, and that's what really makes it special. And one thing about Hunter is the teachers there are amazing. So you really won't get this at any other school. So I want you to take advantage of it. Personally, there's one teacher who's been really influential. And he's a really weird guy, and if you guys can't guess that, Mr. Randolph, and he's been really influential on me. So it's really helpful if you have just someone who is older than you, who knows the school really well, and who can keep an eye out for you. Because Hunter is definitely a lot easier to find a mentor than at any other school. So try to find a teacher you really like and latch on. And I guess was there anything bad? Oh, okay. Something bad about my experience at Hunter is from 7th grade until 11th grade, I've been a really, let's say, strict student for myself. I'd say I need to do this, I need to do all my homework, and I really keep myself on it. And I think that's a problem, because in senior year, I realized that I can't do everything. I need to let some things go, and I need to prioritize. And it was only until senior year that I learned how to prioritize, and that I learned how to negotiate with teachers. Because you'll be amazed at how many, at what teachers can give you. Let's say you want an extension for an essay because you have an extracurricular activity or a performance, and it's in it's due on the same day. And for example, in 10th grade, I just handed in my essay because it was due that day, even though I was really tired right before a performance. So in senior year, I learned that you have to spend more. You have to figure out what has to be put underneath something. You can't do all things 100%. So sometimes you put it at 0% because you need to put it 100% for something else. So figure out how to do that early on, and don't keep yourself to the end below.
Okay, thank you so much, all of you. We have some questions that some parents detail and answer.
So we got email questions. I guess we'll read that last. First one. What's your suggestions and secret tips of improving SAT reading and writing test scores effectively? For example, writing essays daily, reading the dictionary, memorizing. Memorizing the dictionary and reading the newspaper daily. I'd say don't memorize the dictionary. Definitely.
Hello? Okay. I did pretty well on my SATs. Like, one of the few things that I, like, that was one of the extremely strong points of my college application. And the thing was is that I felt that the SAT is not difficult. It is not something that you should be stressed about. It is, like, I feel colleges barely look at it, so it doesn't, like, unless you're, like, really bad at reading and writing, you really shouldn't worry about it. And you should just, study, like, you should study, like, enough. So, but you shouldn't be, like, putting in, like, 3 hours each day, writing an essay and, like, reading, like, memorizing a dictionary, for example. Like, that's, you're going to actually do better if you put much stress on yourself. And, the thing was that I feel that reading and writing are extremely different skills. Like, I love reading. I've read books, like, I just absorb myself into books ever since I was a little kid. I went to, like, the library every day. It was, like, one of the things that I really love doing. Writing, but writing is completely different for me. I absolutely despise it. It is not something that I like. Like, I just did not, writing is not my strong point. But, so, for the writing section on the SAT, I basically tried to, look at the stuff that usually happens, like, they have a grammar section and an essay section for the writing section, right? For the grammar section, you have to look at what are the most popular questions they like to put on it, what are, like, parallelism, you know what that is? It's like, like, that's one of the most popular, like, they have, like, 10 of those questions on every SAT they ever put out, so you have to know, you have to figure out when they put in those that type of questions. And for the essay, you just like, it's practice makes perfect. Even though I hate writing, I got 12 on my essay, whether or not I deserved it or not is another question, but it's okay.
Okay. So, I too did pretty well on the SATs. I don't know if I'm necessarily a great example, but I did go to prep school, but a long time ago. To be honest, I already did very well on the SATs a long time ago. I stopped worrying about them. So basically, I didn't do anything before the SATs at all. But what I feel is that, well, early on, personally, I found that doing the SATs just actually, I used to be really bad at English before I got to Hunter, and then, I don't know, with prep school, whatever, I got a lot better than I used to. But after that, it was kind of pointless, and I don't know, after, I just feel like your SAT, how good you do on the SATs, like the English class, everything, it just kind of like carries you up slowly, and by the time you have to take them, you're already good enough, and you don't have to worry about it too much. I mean, it's obvious, you probably want to know, you probably want to at least look at a SAT prep book sometimes to know what format it is, because, I mean, the test is kind of stupid. It has a specific format. If you don't know the format, if you're not used to the format, you're not going to do well just because it scares you when you see it. I mean, I don't know. I do not recommend memorizing the dictionary. That's one thing I tell you. Writing essays daily, I mean, if you like writing, then go ahead. I don't know if that's necessary. Reading the newspaper, I think reading the newspaper is a good idea, not because it'll help you on your SATs, but because you know stuff. And it's always a good idea to read things, because of the SATs, because we'll teach you things.
Yeah, I did pretty well too. I guess we all did, that's why we're sitting here. For reading, I would say, I wouldn't read the newspaper because I find that kind of boring, but I guess I do read it sometimes just to be, you have to know current events, it's just like, but I would suggest reading books because that helps you kind of practice a lot of the analytical skills that you need for the reading section, and it also helps in the writing section because you can use examples from literature to prove your essay, to prove your point on the essay. I wouldn't suggest like doing anything daily, but once the test comes up, I would suggest at least practicing doing a few run-throughs of the actual test. The book that I really like is the College Board Blue Book. It's like this thick and it's blue. It has a ton of practice tests. They're all like legit College Board tests. So don't get like Princeton Review, don't get Barron's, don't get like any of that stuff. Just get the real College Board ones. That's an accurate representation of what the test is really like. Just do those. They'll help. For the memorizing the dictionary, don't do that. There's only a tiny part in the reading section that you really need to know a lot of words for, and even if you the first few questions are really simple, and you can omit the rest of the ones that that are kind of hard, and you can still do like 750 plus if you omit those. For writing the essay, you want to make sure how they grade the essay is very kind of strict. You have to have topic sentence, prove your point, conclusion, all that stuff. Just make sure you have all of that down. Make sure you answer the question. Don't go off on a tangent. That's very important because if you go off on a tangent, they'll give you a 4 and you won't do very well. So it's really definitely not a hard test. Don't stress out about it too much. Just practice. You'll start to like it. I kind of started to like it after a while. I thought it was fun.
I guess we don't have a lot of time, so we'll move on to another question. We talked about extracurricular. Okay, I'll do these questions. Okay, so school. I've spent a lot of time on clubs. I've talked about term council, I've talked about HCHS, and I have a few other clubs that aren't as important to me right now, but I'd say that you should spend, if you're dedicated to a club, you might spend at least 2 hours a week. I mean, it's not going to take that much time. I mean, club meetings are actually only 30 minutes long. Yeah, so, I mean, that's half an hour a week. I mean, it doesn't take that much time to be dedicated, but if you want to set aside extra time to do extra work, it's not that much. It'll be fun too, so it's not going to be like a stress out over it. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the question is, how do you manage your time, right? Like that.
So, let's read the question.
Right. Time management, how do you manage your time daily? One is how long on the way to school, so how long on transportation. Second one is how much time do you spend on homework, your time on clubs and sports, time on personal things. Personal matters. It takes me 1.5 hours each way to school, so altogether 3 hours. Then for number 2, on homework, let's say, I don't know, it depends on what day it is, but approximately 3 hours-ish. Less than? 2 to 3 hours, I would say.
Oh my God, so
Is that a lot or little? Okay. Wait, is that a lot or little? Okay, as for how many on clubs? Maybe, in addition to just basically sacrificing my lunch periods, I guess 1 hour per week, but when it depends also, because some clubs, we schedule certain events, so when events occur, then we spend a lot more time on it. Like if we're publishing biosphere, then I would maybe spend at least 5 hours a week, right before publishing it, 5 to even more. As for personal things, that also depends on what happens at home. But, yeah, I wouldn't know how to answer that because I'm not sure exactly what personal things refer to. Actually, school projects take up the most of my time. That's why I say 2 to 3 hours on average, because when you have school projects, you can spend a whole night doing it if you procrastinate it. If you don't have it, then not so much.
My daughter is in the 11th grade now, and she wants to be the editor of your book. Does that help?
I would say it takes up a lot of time. It takes up a lot of time. I'm not sure whether or not you want to invest that much time, because what you're going to get is one title, and it's going to take a lot of time.
So you say it's not worth the investment, or is it just whatever?
It's worth it if she wants to do it. If she's doing it just to get the title, it's not worth it.
That's a lot of time out of your English grade. She's not your teacher. And if you just giving her a really bad grade, no matter if you want to give her
write the way you want to write. So that what goes on in class, you just write it down and you write it in your essay. That's how you get it.
you be knowing.
Don't try for Mel. It's not gonna
Which color?
Too late. It's too late.
For annals, if you want to get on annals, you have to be a lackey. That's the only way to get on annals. It's not even about like qualifications getting on annals, it's your popularity. Basically. So it's not even a big deal. Just don't worry about annals.
I guess for me, homework takes anywhere from an hour to like 12. Depends on the day. I mean, like if it's just math homework, that usually takes like 15 minutes. But if you have to write a paper, and I can say for pretty much all of us here, we're big procrastinators, which is bad. But we do it anyway. We know it's bad. We think about it, we think it's bad, but we still do it. So, papers take a long time. So, try not to wait.
So it takes me like 2 hours to get to school, or more. I live in Staten Island. So, homework, I really don't spend that much time on homework. I kind of do them in between TV commercials and stuff like that. I think throughout school I've kind of gotten lucky and I've had like kind of easy teachers who don't really give that much homework. I think what makes homework difficult is you not wanting to do it and you trying to put it off. I really hated doing homework mostly because I just didn't want to do it, but once I did it, it was kind of like, oh, that wasn't so bad. So you just do it and then get it over with, and then you can have fun. Yeah, so I always spend like half an hour. Depends, really. I do have like a lot of time for personal things. Like I have a job, I go out with friends a lot. It's not that bad. Lynn made it sound like really horrible, like once you go to school, she kind of scares like a lot of 7th graders, I guess, if you guys are listening. With the homework, it's really not that stressful. It's really not as bad as you think it is. You'll have fun.
12 hours. If you spend 12 hours, probably 4 or 5 of those hours is playing.
Yeah, you'll just be like, 12 hours, yeah.
And like, oh, look, there's the plot.
Yeah, it takes me like a whole night to write an essay sometimes, partially because I'll write like a sentence, and then I'll like chat on AIM or something for like an hour. And then I'll go get something to eat and write another sentence. Like, that's a really big issue. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, I usually, before the later part of my high school, I used to go to sleep early every night and wake up, nice and bright and completely awake. 11th and 12th grade, I finally knew what it meant to be groggy in the morning, and I found out that my commute to school is an excellent way for me to get some extra sleep. But what I found about homework, like as my parents would know, I had a couple of problems with homework. Like a lot of my teachers commented on that. And the thing was, it wasn't because I procrastinated, it's because I just plain forgot. Because a lot of times, especially in 9th and 10th grade, for some reason, well, like, I knew what the reason was, but my teachers would always give out homeworks like 2 days ahead, like not tomorrow, not like math homework. Math homework was, it's the next day, you know, you hand it in the next day. That's easy to remember. A lot of teachers would be like, oh, hand in like a one-page paper 2 days from now. Now, for some reason, I would always forget it in that one day in between. Because I would always think, what do I have the next day? And I think about today only, and not. So I would suggest, you know, making use of a planner. I don't know how to use a planner for some reason. I just never got that skill. I never learned how to use it. So, yeah, I kept on losing them too. So I ended up missing a lot of homework just through not being smart. So, you know, I would suggest you guys, you know, keep organized, make sure you know what homework you have, so you can actually do it. Because homework isn't that hard. You know, you don't spend that much time on it. It's only until like 11th grade where you get the social studies paper and the English paper due on the same day. You really have any type of like really stressful homework. So the homework load is very easy. Like it's easy to manage as long as you can minimize your procrastination. Because let's be honest, we're all going to procrastinate, even though we say it's bad. But the thing that's important is to try to keep it at a minimum. You know, don't procrastinate too much to the extent that you spend 12 hours doing a homework that should only take 1.
Oh, if anyone has any questions, we'll just take questions.
Can you briefly describe your ethics? That's a little hard topic.
I mean, a lot of schools can have supplements, which is besides the common application, they also ask you to write an extra application. And if you do the school's personal application, they ask you like 2 essays, not 1. But like my common application, I wrote about Sherlock Holmes because I read a lot of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books, and I was really interested in like the mystery genre, and I wrote about how he influenced like my thinking, and then another thing I wrote about was Bill Nye the Science Guy. That show influenced me so much because I really learned to like, you know, to question the world, to question like, why does this happen? Like he would always, like whenever I watch a show, I'd be like, wow, I found out something new. You know, it's because you question things. You don't say, oh, you know, it rains because it rains, but why does it rain? You know, like there's some questions that you don't really realize that you don't know the answer to until you ask the question. And that's those are the 2 things I wrote about.
Okay, so there's a couple of essays, but the main one that I think got on all the applications was one about my science fair project and the entire process from design to experiment to testing to debug to getting the data to writing the paper. It basically was about the entire process of engineering and science. So, yeah. Oh,
Any more questions?
What is it that you don't do? A little bit and also like what is so special about a school in the beginning class that we need to have uniform?
So I'm going to Princeton, and yeah, that's my first choice. And the reason I really like it is because the campus is just really beautiful. That's like, the buildings are so nice. It's like so pretty there. They're like gigantic trees, gigantic flowers. It's like, and there are a lot of resources. It's a small school. The graduate school is only like 200 people, so it's really undergraduate focused. So it's kind of like a small liberal arts school with a big school kind of resource. You can do a lot of research and stuff if you're into that. But basically for me, it was the campus. Like, because you're spending 4 years of your life there, so you want to make sure it's a nice place where you want to actually be.
I'm going to Cornell. Cornell was not my first choice or my second choice. I didn't get into either of them, actually. But out of the schools that I got into, Cornell, when I visited, I felt the connection. And I think, even though it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I was afraid of that, you know, because I got into NYU too, and I was comparing the two, and in the end, I just felt right there, and I think that helps a lot. I mean, it's a really big school too, so it's also really different, but I feel a challenge coming, so.
I was deciding mainly between Harvard and MIT, and I have to say I really loved MIT. I loved it since I was in 11th grade, whereas Harvard I really didn't get the vibe until recently. And I realized that it's because I just feel more comfortable at MIT. But in the end, I chose Harvard because I wanted to try to get out of my comfort zone and I guess try to change myself a bit more. You know, try something new, try something difficult.
Quick thing, yeah, so Caltech was one of my first choice schools, like on early action, but one thing, if you're interested in science and technology, don't forget about Caltech, because I found that it's like the one school that you really don't get it until you visit it. The culture there is just very interesting, let's say. And their campus, of course, California, it's always sunny, great weather. They have a very interesting culture. They have some very interesting programs.
时间关系啊，没有再问题。如果有问题的话，我可以打电话到那个华人家长会，然后我们可以再继续再answer你们。好，那就谢谢他们百忙中抽出时间来。你们有什么问题可以留下来跟他们再谈一下，好不好？那下面我们就开 party， 就可以吃东西，然后大家学生认识一下，家长认识一下，有什么问题都可以来问。好 ，OK。